Hey guys, Mark Allen, BHSpringSolutions LLC and BHSpringSolutions.com. How do I extend the life of my high power magazines? This is a magazine for Browning high power or high power clone, and these are not a lifetime part. But there are ways that we've figured out you can extend the life of the high powers magazine, and there's two things that typically cause a high power magazine to be past its useful life, and one is the spring inside the magazine becomes weakened and it's just not as good as a new magazine spring, and the other one is the feed lips. The feed lips on the high power magazine over time will start to spread just a little bit, and normally it's in this area of the feed lips right there that you can maybe see in the picture right there, and sometimes those need to be adjusted so that you have the proper angle presentation of your ammunition in the magazine. So whether you have a new high power magazine or you have a bunch of high power magazines laying around, I'm going to show you how you can extend the life of them. And the first suggestion is for magazines that you do not currently have in use for a defensive role. So that means they're just in storage. The first thing you can do to extend the life of your magazine is just what you're going to see right now. That is, you see how compressed that spring is inside the magazine. Springs, when they are compressed, are exerting energy. In other words, they're trying to get themselves back to their relaxed length. Well, nothing exerts energy forever. So that's the first thing, would be to release the spring from the magazine and put your magazine in a plastic bag and store them this way. Before you store them, you want to wipe out and wipe off all of your metal parts with an oil rag, your spring inside the magazine, the base plate, and then store it in a plastic bag, and don't have the magazine spring constantly compressed. It's really the compression of the magazine spring that causes the magazine springs to weaken over time. So if you're not using the magazine, you can just take them apart like you just saw, and they go back together very, very easy, like you're seeing right now. And we're back together. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of adjustment on that little post at the bottom, but that's suggestion number one. Suggestion number two: the most pressure is placed on these magazine feed lips when your magazine is fully loaded. So this is a 15-round magazine. I'm going to be pushing the most pressure on these feed lips with the ammunition when I have 15 rounds in there. So the second suggestion would be to load your magazines and put the first one in the chamber if you carry in condition 1, and don't add another one into the magazine. So the suggestion here is I would load 15, rack the slide, put one in the chamber, and leave it alone, and just have 14 rounds in here. That's a personal choice. It won't work for some guys, and I understand it. I've carried 15 plus 1 many, many times. If you want to extend the life of your magazine and you're not worried about that extra round, you could follow that suggestion as a suggestion number 2. Finally, we talked about the feed lips of the high power magazine. Eventually these will start to spread. What will happen is it will start to allow the lead end of your round to ride too high in the magazine. That can cause a stoppage because it can knock off the empty shell casing off of the extractor during recoil while you're trying to fire and the pistol's trying to function. So we have a magazine cartridge presentation angle magazine gauge tool, and what this tool does is it gives you a picture of how the angle of the cartridge casing should be in your magazine. We have another video called How Do I Tune a High Power Magazine that shows you the adjustment going on. This is a new magazine, and what we're looking for is a parallel line along the top of the that matches the parallel line of the top of the cartridge casing. This one looks very, very excellent, so we're not going to do any adjusting to it. If the front of the bullet was riding too high, we would make a simple adjustment of the magazine feed lips just like this. A pair of 5-inch angle nose pliers are perfect, and we'll just curve those feed lips in towards the ammunition a little, and that will cause the cartridge presentation to come more back into line. But you can see how easy that is, and frankly how good that is right out of the box. So anyway, those are our suggestions for extending the life of your magazines.